June 2021. Welcome to the Newspaper Review segment here on Pan-African Television. My name is Kwame Owusu-Dan. So big thank you to all of you for choosing us this morning. Thank you for spending your quality morning with me this morning. I'm grateful to you every single time you tune into Pan-African Television. Today I'm excited. I'm excited because we're going to spend a very wonderful time together, I believe so. And we're going to be dealing with all the relevant issues here on the morning show. Before I introduce to you my panelists and share with you the topics for our conversation this morning, I'd like to extend a voice of gratitude to the students at UDS Tamale, University of Development Studies Tamale. The team, Obasima Summit team, visited you on Friday, and you demonstrated quite clearly that the Ghanaian notion of the description of the Ghanaian time as the Ghanaian time doesn't exist in the northern part of this nation. In fact, the program was scheduled for 11, and so we decided that, because of Ghanaman time, let's tell the students it's 9. Now, when it was 9, the place was full. That's the clearest of indications that, listen, it is not every school that operates with that principle called the Ghanaian time principle. So congratulations to the students at UDS. You guys were phenomenal. It was a beautiful sight to behold. And the team at Obasima Summit are very, very, very exhilarated about that. They are thankful to you for showing up in your numbers. And the display of culture was something else. Trust me. I'm going to be just sharing with you a few of the videos, and then we'll come back into the studios, introduce the topics. But I received a call, a very important call on Saturday, I believe. A woman called me and was telling me about the challenges that the teachers are facing in respect of an exam that they wrote, which exam was intended to upgrade them. Okay, it appears that there's a problem there. When I come back, I'll touch on that briefly before I introduce the topics to you for this morning. So let's just watch the videos from Tamale, Obasima Guinness Ghana Campus Store 21. The team has already visited UPSA. The team has already visited University of Ghana. They went to Tamale on Friday. This Friday, they are in Kumasi, KNUST, and on Saturday, they'll climax it with a visit to Ghana Institute of Journalism. So it's a very beautiful summit that's going to happen on the 25th of June this month at Tank Palace Hotel. But this is just a precursor to the main event. So let me just walk you through the videos, and then I'll come back shortly into the studio. Stay with me. Those were some of the scenes from Tamale UDS. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I loved it. Now, on the basis of that, let me also say in fact, this one is a thunderous thank you to one of the finest politicians of our time. He is the immediate past member of parliament for Binduri constituency, Honorable Dr. Robert Kugagnab Lem, MP, former MP for Binduri. Of course, he's coming back in 2024. We're going to win that seat back. That's a promise. But what he did for the team is one that cannot, cannot, of course, be left, like that. We need to appreciate him for what he did for the team. Giving out his vehicle, even when he had somewhere to go to Alma, to convey Alma from the airport to the school, feeding the team, over 20 people at his luxury restaurant in Tamale is just beautiful. Honorable, thank you. And to your wife as well, Vida Kugagnablem. Thank you very much, madam, for hosting the team at your luxury restaurant in Tamale. I'm coming there myself because the jollof they ate and they need to ask them to eat some. Next up is KNUST, and so we need to make sure that you also make your way to KNUST on Friday. I will be sharing with you the details within the week. So please just be on standby for KNUST. The final one will be at JIJ on Saturday. So this very Saturday we'll have the final one. Right. Nigeria's president vows to fight militant groups. Nigeria's president vows to fight militant groups. Martin Amidu opens fire again. Says acting special prosecutor is a poodle. Do you know what a poodle is? I have a dog called Cookie. Cookie is a poodle. Wherever you go, it follows you. Poodle. Hey, Martin. Ghana backs $200 million from World Bank in aid of COVID-19 vaccines procurement. That's on the front page of the Informa newspaper. And who is making my third guest? 2021 population and housing census, counting of houses begins. Counting of houses begins. And clearly, we're going to continue to count houses. The houses they will count. But as to whether it will bring about some development is another conversation. Right. I'm excited to have in the studios for the first time on my show, Honorable Joseph Yamin. Good morning, sir. Good morning. I trust you're doing well. Good morning. Yeah, you're working, even in opposition. I think, a few months in opposition, you're still working.
Yeah, we have to work. Because working is the only means we can push this government out of power and save the people of this country.
But this government is doing well.
How do you judge?
But how do you also judge that they are not doing well?
Well, I have a lot of
things to talk about. Plenty of them. Tell me small.
You see, just last 3 days, I posted something on my Facebook, which you can verify. An abandoned secondary school started by John Dramani Mahama. Fortunately, I was the deputy minister at that time in Ashanti region. I cast sword for the start of the project in 2015. Got it completed, painted, everything. It's left to the mercy of the bush, snakes and everything. In fact, as I speak now, the roofs are all coming out. And we have children, going to school under trees. We are running a double track system when we have a whole school built, everything finished. Go to my Facebook, you see, not just one. I can count many of them in Ashanti region. And if you have a government like that, you think that this country is safe, that is cool. We have a lot of the health infrastructure that's also been left to the mercy of the bush and the sun. The unemployment situation, what is going on, the energy sector. Yesterday, I got the shock of my life. We are not only talking about fuel. I went to change my oil, service the car. The oil we used to buy for 92 cedis, it got to 92 cedis at the start of this year. It was around 70 cedis. It is now selling for 112 Ghana cedis. Can you add up how much has been added We are only talking about fuel, the increment. But increasing fuel affects almost everything, including the servicing. So the amount I used to spend in servicing my vehicle had gone up. And I was shocked. I was only prepared to go in there to service my car with what I used to do, only for me to go with a new bill put before me. And I was shocked. This is how the country is being run today. And you want to tell me that the government is doing well?
Well, Mr. Adaku is, I don't know whether I should say giggling or smiling. But do you disagree with you, I mean? Well, good morning, by the way. And good morning to you, Awudi Ishak, National Communications Officer for the PNC. Good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you are doing well. You've been spending a lot of time in the north. We'll talk about that. Mr. Adaku, why were you giggling?
Well,
You disagree with him?
well, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the Honorable.
Good morning.
Good morning to my brother, Ishak. Good morning to the good people of our country. And a belated 72nd anniversary to the Great Convention People's Party. We celebrated the 72nd anniversary of its founding on 12th of June 1949.
The collapsed party.
Well, it's not collapsed. The idea of the CPP still lives.
No,
and
I'm talking about the organization as a
the historical significance of the formation is fantastic.
Okay.
But I was, it was interesting what Honorable was saying, and it took me to the mindset of those who are ruling us, and the recent outburst by President Kufuor on the fact that Nkrumah was visionless, didn't have plans, which simply meant, because the Honorable was talking about abandonment of projects which were not started by the present government, which means the present government has a certain mindset that the beginning of Ghana's history started with it. And so they must start everything. Anything which went on before didn't happen or was not necessary. And that's the same kind of mindset the Kufuor was showing by telling us that there was no vision. If the Nkrumah and the CPP didn't have vision, would Ghana have been born and gotten independent? Did Ghana have the first 5-year development plan which built the Adomi Bridge, which built the Konfanoche Hospital, which expanded Kolebu, which built Tema Harbour and Tema Township? I mean, to say that Nkrumah built a lot of factories. The cement factory is still working, isn't it? There are a lot of the factories, although most of them have been abandoned, they are still working and giving employment to people. Yes, I did use the motorway coming here. And if you quantify the value of goods which pass on the motorway every day, it's a lot.
We're even benefiting from the tolls.
Yes, apart from the tolls, the cargo which plies in and out to the harbour and out to Lome and other places. You understand? And so for Kufuor, the so-called doyen of Matimeho politics, to come out with this kind of stale propaganda is unfortunate.
My issue really has got to do with why now? What is the import of all of these conversations or narratives that are being put out there?
It's because they have been abysmal in ruling this country.
So they want a justification.
They are a failure, and that is why they would create a forum for the Chief Justice to go and sit on it in Kumasi to criticize Supreme Court Justice Akiwumi, Kosa, and Van Leer, Henri Akoto. And when he is criticized and his people are criticized for giving judgment, then he holds people to the General Legal Council. That is a contrast. That shows the kind of mentality and people they are. And so is it any wonder that a school building will be finished, a hospital will be finished, and it will be abandoned? Did they do that post-1966? Yes, they did it. And are they doing it now? Yes, they are doing it. So does it equate with progress for our country? No, it does not. Because when this infrastructure is built, it is not for those who were the leaders and built them. It's for the people of Ghana because it's our money. Even if they borrowed money, we will pay for it. So if you get such mentality ruling our country, then of course you don't expect any progress, and you expect abysmal economic and political performance, which is happening now.
Well, thank you. Audishak, I don't know if you've been, taking a casual look at what is happening in Nigeria, for instance. The Buhari Must Go demonstration, I think, is about the biggest in Nigeria. And these are people who do not belong to specific political parties. In fact, people who belong to Buhari's political party are part of the demonstration. How should that inform the thinking, the general thinking, the thinking patterns of the young people who live in this country, who, for whatever reason, have become so partisan that they fail to pause for thought about the things which are happening, which obviously has let me describe it as a derivative negative effect on the development of this nation. What message should that send to us? Because the Appears Fix the Country demonstration is in tatters.
Well, Kwame, let me say that I may not disagree with your position on how highly partisan the youth front in Ghana is. But I also think that there are so many other Kwame Osudansons out there. Because I know that you are not partisan. You may have a certain political lens. There's a difference between being political and being partisan. Being political is just about being conscious of political happenings. But how you prefer judgment is what determines whether you are being partisan or not. I believe that there are a lot of Ghanaians who are not partisan, who are not interested in the daily partisan, the politicization of issues that confront all of us. And for me, I also think that if we were to look at the different shades of opinion in this country, there are so many people out there who do not belong to the NDC. They do not belong to the NPP. They don't belong to my PNC or the CPP or whatever. Because we have a population of close to about 31 million people today. And you have a voters register that is around 16, 17 million. So now the rest of the people who have not even registered to vote, where do you think they belong to? There are people out there who are not interested in the kind of politics that we do. And Kwame, the Fix the Country movement is not in tatters. We are being suffocated by a system that knows that it's something that will go against them. And so once it doesn't suit them, they are bringing up all kinds of excuses to ensure that we don't go out there and expose them globally. Because if you look at the kind of momentum that built up in the run-up to the date that was set for the Fix the Country demonstration, nobody needs to tell you that it was going to catch global attention. And the system needed to do something about it. And that is why those kind of reasons were being assigned and people had to go to court, ex parte, and all of that. And even in the wake of a court setting aside that kind of injunction that was secured, you saw the statement by the police. A statement that was fraught with all kinds of inconsistencies and all of that, still trying to put a certain kind of fear in the generality of the Ghanaian people that that movement must not survive. But I know that it doesn't matter how long it takes. People naturally would look for an opportunity to vent out. And it would have even been better if we were allowed to have done it now than for them to allow for a certain kind of this thing to build in us for a long time. When it builds in people for a long time, that at that point in time, people would explode. And you may not be able to contain it. For me, I know that, just like you said, a lot of us are monitoring the situation in Nigeria. Was I think that President Buhari is not any different from President Akufo-Addo? Because most of the things which they said prior to assuming the reins of government, they have failed in most of those fronts. And so if we were to do a comparison of their performances and the expectations and the disappointments that people are facing today, you get to understand that it will not be that different in Nigeria or in Ghana. And so for me, I know that even if it's not going to be something with the team fix the country, naturally, I know that the good people of Ghana, especially we within the youth brackets, we are going to respond. We are going to let the people in power today, people in responsibility, people at the helm of affairs, get to understand that they owe us a certain responsibility. Because if you looked at most of the things that people brought on board, people talked about as regards the reasons for which they think that this country ought to be fixed, these were quite germane, very genuine, and quite legitimate reasons. And nobody, for whatever reason, can say that these are a group of people who do not know what they are about. We know clearly what we are about as a people. We know clearly what ought to be done to us as citizens. And we know what responsibility rests on the shoulders of the powers that be. And so, unless, of course, within a certain time frame, the government does something dramatic, if things continue to be as they are, I can tell you that President Akufo-Addo has a 4-year mandate. Yeah. But I can tell you that within that 4-year mandate, we are not going to allow him to have it all rosy and costly. He ought to set up and ensure that the basic things that he ought to do for the good people of Ghana, he gets them done.
Fantastic. My point of departure in describing the Fix the Country demonstration as being on the brink is not because I believe there's some lack of objectives, but also because I believe that the differences between need and want has not been properly, brought to the front burner. And I explain why. Because if you really want something, I'm not saying people should be defiant of the law, right? But if you really want something, sometimes you go beyond what the law stipulates to be able to achieve that expected end. Nothing that, even how we gained independence and all of that, the kind of support that we got was not gotten on the basis of, at the time, just merely wanting to, or needing, to have independence. But the real desire, the want was there. And then so people rallied behind us, Kwame Nkrumah's, independent dream to be able to get that, right? So I'm saying that on the basis of that and pulling parity with what is happening in Nigeria, we could also do more. We could also, in demonstrating that we clearly want a certain level of change to happen, do more than what we are doing now.
Well,
because right now it's more like, well, we are afraid of the system, mere rhetorics and things like that. The actionable plan is what I'm referring to.
That is the point at which this issue of partisanship reigns supreme. Because, Kwame, on the quiet and backstage, you and I know that there are so many people, either sympathizers of the government of the day, or supporters of that government, or even people who hold positions or appointments in the government, who would call you confidently and agree.
Oh, of course. That we all get that.
They are not performing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You understand?
That's a fact.
But for the fear of whatever, they don't want to come out boldly and support some of these initiatives that people are trying to bring on board. Because we live in a country where even your application to be given a job at NAPCO is determined by which political party you belong to.
That's a fact.
We live in a country where even your application for a meter from ECG to be connected to your house, you may need a certain kind of political leverage. And so it affects the kind of politics we play in this country, affects everything that people do. And people are not prepared to sacrifice some of these favors. Yet. You understand? And so, because of that, people still have a certain fear in them.
Okay.
But I'm saying that it does not matter how long it takes. We will overcome that kind of fear. People will get to understand that if we are to help fix the system, the politics will no more reign supreme. It will now be based on merit and not based on favors or whatever. And so I know that we may not have reached that level in Nigeria yet. But I'm saying that as Ghanaians, people are becoming conscientized and all of that. And let the powers that be get to understand that they say that no matter how long it takes, a stammering child pronounces the name of his father.
Okay.
Definitely we're going to do it.
All right.
And Kwame, why would President Kufuor not say the kind of things that he's saying? They are yet to overcome the fact that somebody like Kwame Nkrumah gained that kind of...
Not in their stock, not from their stock.
Exactly. That's all about
it. That's all about it. Because it's not from their stock.
We were to dedicate this show to the memory of Kwame Nkrumah and we're to talk about the achievements of Kwame Nkrumah, I'm not sure we will even finish.
Right.
They know it. They are beneficiaries of it.
They refuse to accept it.
That Nkrumah did and all of that. They are talking about one district, one factory. 5 years down the line, where are the factories? If building of factories is not good, why was it a flagship
program?
A program. They are underpaid for. They have not done anything about that.
Let me come to Yamin on this subject matter, and we'll find a way of roping in the first topic in respect of Nigeria. Yeah, but what is wrong? Why is it? Because from Ishaq's submission, it appears that it is not so much about the fact that we don't need it or we don't want it. We really do need and want it, right? But perhaps the fear, of being killed or attacked or maimed, perhaps is one that is drawing us back, from achieving it. I'm talking about the conversation. I mean, the conversation that we're having about, fixing the country, and we try to put parity to what is happening in Nigeria. We know that people have thronged the streets of Nigeria, thousands of them, in defiance of, if you will, the law, and in protesting for what they think should be rightfully theirs, which obviously have not been done by the Buhari administration. In fact, one of the pillars upon which Buhari's administration was predicated was on his fight against militants. I don't know if you recall that he was going to fight Boko Haram this, Boko Haram that. Clearly, that is a complete disaster. So obviously the people demonstrating on the streets of Nigeria are doing so on the basis of the promises which were made by Buhari and the fact that he has been abysmal in achieving those promises which he made to the good people of Nigeria. And I just want us to compare that situation to Ghana. Because they all are the same, really.
You see, looking at the topic and Buhari's vow to fight militant group, I just wondered whether Buhari is indeed a former military man, because when Buhari makes such statements, he should understand what informs militant groups formation and the government's ability to fight them. It's not only in Nigeria, but Ghana as a whole. But you see, the causes of terrorism, and in this instance, the formation of these terror groups, are of so many dimensions. One, unemployment is a factor.
Clearly.
Getting people to want to fight a system which at the end inflicts harm on non-combatants or civilians, and so we term it as a terror action. So terrorism is when you inflict harm on civilians who are not really the targets, but unfortunately they are affected. And so your action may be good, but as long as it has some effect on an individual who is not your main target, then it becomes a terrorist activity. And so for people to gang up to want to fight a system, one, unemployment gets people to easily come together,
right,
and form groups to want to resist a certain oppressive rule in this instance. The other one is about corruption. That is good governance, also gets people to want to form. Then we have a clash of civilization also being one of the factors to get people to want to fight a certain system. And indeed, all these factors are very clear in Nigeria and Ghana. We have very similar, if not the same, in these countries. So whatever we are talking about, Nigeria is definitely in Ghana. And I have always said this, that we are not safe as a country. We will get to that stage where people will be bold enough to now want to get out and fight the system. That is the danger ahead of us. Now look, in Ghana today, what we are experiencing in Nigeria, I'm sure if it should start in Ghana here, it's going to be very terrible for us. But are we able to prevent it? Me, I say no. You see, this issue of Wesley Girls saga, the Muslim issue, falls directly under clash of civilization. That some people want to impose their culture or their religion on others. You will get people getting formed to want to resist that kind of oppression. And that alone can spark some disturbances in the country. And when you have a government who will watch just like that without making any intervention, then it is serious for us. You know why? We have a president who is a Christian, we have a vice president who is a Muslim. An issue cropped up between Christians and Muslims, and none of the two made any intervention, any statement. And groups began to form. People started defending one against the other. What saved us was who is to start first. And that has been a mentality of Ghanaians. And I think that we should pray that it stays like that going forward, that who starts in Ghana. But if it were to be in any other country where some people are bold enough to start, I'm sure Ghana by this time will not be how it is now. And so when you have a government who will want to just close its eyes to certain dangers ahead of us, then it is dangerous for our country. We are lucky these things are not just taking the shape that is taken in other countries. Corruption is also one issue that is seriously forming groups. And in Ghana, it is clear. COVID-19 drugs that are being sold for $10, government is charging $19. As Parliament has approved, I think about $12, only for government to be talking about $19. That is even on one front. There's another group that is also quoting $25 or $26 in a country where we are struggling to get people employed, in a country where people are struggling to eat, in a country where we don't have money to complete these projects we are talking about. We have every means to want to rake in profits at the expense of this country. And again, when you want to do that, definitely some people may want to resist that form of abuse in the system. Is it not surprising that we are going to green Ghana with 125 million Ghana citizens to plant 5 million trees? Where are the trees? Did they provide any trees? I saw people planting it on their own. Did you see 5 million trees seedlings being distributed to people to plant? That we have a figure of 125 million Ghana cedis, 1.25 trillion old Ghana cedis is what we are talking about. And you think that the youth will not at a certain point be angry against the government, and the only means to show their anger will be to mass up onto the streets like it happened in Algeria and other countries, which resulted in some disturbances in the country? Don't you think that the youth will be justified to want to move out there and do some form of demonstration as we are talking about Fix the Country? Don't you think that Fix the Country people are right to go out there and demonstrate when we have a private jet and the government will go and hire a jet for 15,000 pounds an hour? When we have a private jet sitting down, when we have projects that 15,000 can start and complete. And so everything about the government justifies why people should move onto the streets. Interestingly, in our country, anytime you make any move I don't see the thing that the government has some absolute control over state institutions. I think we are not, the institutions are not actually doing what they are supposed to be doing according to the law. Because I don't see how the police will want to prevent people who want to demonstrate and have vowed to go by all the protocols at our disposal now to say don't do it. Meanwhile, the same police watch people demonstrating against the NDC's flag bearer and the former president. Are you not aware?
I'm aware.
People went out there and all these things. People could install chiefs and others. When you see what it borders on the MPP, it is good. The laws do not frown on them. But when it is in the interest of the nation, what happened at Sir John's funeral? Where the whole president, I was shocked. The Ghana Medical Association coming out to issue a statement directing the IGP to, who were they directing? The IGP himself was there. If he was not there, his representative was there. And the IGP and the people who were going, anywhere the president goes, the IGP should be around. If he's not around, somebody representing the IGP should be there. Anywhere the president moves, the Chief Justice, if he's not there, somebody should be represented. And in this instance, the Chief Justice is also from the Ashanti region where Sir John hails from. All these persons in government who are supposed to ensure that the laws are adhered to the fullest were there. And the Ghana Medical Association will issue a statement and say, go and arrest who? I was saying that the Ghana Medical Association, if they wanted me to take them serious, should have directed their anger to the president. Be bold enough to tell Mr. President, you have disappointed us. Because about leadership, and the military has a language, leadership by example. Yeah. And we have a president who is saying that you cannot demonstrate against my bad governance. You cannot demonstrate against the hardship in the country because there's COVID-19. But he can just break those COVID-19 protocols just to satisfy their personal gains. So this is what is happening in Nigeria and is happening in Ghana. But we have what it takes as a government to stop them. I don't think that they have what it takes, because as far as the militant groups are concerned, they are far advanced. I'm just looking at one instance. You see that there's this mountain of street CCTV cameras.
I've seen them.
We have gone beyond the stage of physical CCTV camera presence. If you travel out of this country, I was on the way with a friend. Then I saw him reducing the speed limit. So I asked her, why are you now going backwards as far as the speed is concerned? So there's a camera on the way. And indeed it was written that there's a camera. But you are unable to identify which specific area the camera is. And so for that matter, you have to be extra careful within that range not to be caught by the camera. That is the advanced state as far as security cameras are concerned.
You are talking about which country?
Yeah, of course.
It's in Rwanda. What you're saying is in Rwanda.
So Rwanda is not done. Today, people are finding antidotes to go around even the secret cameras mounted. Then we are in a country where we are now installing physical ones. If they can break hidden cameras, do you think that is not, they can easily manipulate the physical presence that we find out there? So if we are a government that today we don't, even a policeman some policemen go out there not even with a shocker but sticks, but you have militants or armed robbers holding AK-47 G3 rifles. Do you think that we have what it takes to fight them? When government is unable to recruit young men and women into the Ghana Armed Forces and the police, but these groups have what it takes to attract people to join them because they have what it takes in terms of finance to recruit more people. You think that we have what it takes to fight them? I think that what can fight them is to make the system right, is to make sure that you don't collapse people's business. We have a government that prides itself for collapsing people's businesses. If you watch them and the way they try to explain how come they have collapsed certain banks in this country, you wonder whether indeed these are people who really came to power to serve the people. A bank that you need $9 million to rescue, you spend 21 million to collapse it, and you are happy telling the people when you collapse a bank, you have collapsed somebody's business, and that person's business that you have collapsed, somebody's investment has been locked up. Do you know how many people are still struggling because their investments have been locked up in these collapsed banks? How many people have lost jobs as a result of the collapse of these banks? And the dependency on these people who have lost jobs as a result of the collapse of these banks are also there. Only for government to come and now want to set up a bank. You collapse a bank and you want to set up a bank. Does it make sense?
With a loan.
With a loan. You are going out there to say that, please forgive me my loans, but still give me another loan to come and work with. Does it make sense? So the only time we can fight this militant group is to make the system straight, do it better, so that people will not be encouraged to want to stand up against the system. Face the Ghana demonstrators are only out there because there's some hardship in the system.
Some or more.
No, it's more, but I'm saying that they are moving out there because people who are joining on different fronts. Somebody is joining because there's hikes in electricity tariffs. Somebody is joining because that person cannot buy fuel. Somebody is joining because he has no job. Somebody is joining because government is spending $15,000. 15,000 pounds to hire a private jet when there's already a jet in use. It doesn't make sense. So I'd say that Africans, I mean Nigeria and Ghana, we are like Siamese twins. It looks like Ghana, we try to copy the Nigerians. And so as the Nigerians have defied COVID-19 protocols and have moved on to the streets, I think that we are getting to a stage that Ghanaians may want to copy. And they may be justified copying the Nigerians to move on to the streets. Because if the states will not give them protection, they will have to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
And force themselves out.
Thank you very much, Joseph Yamin, the beautiful submission. Mr. Justice Akufu Hineku. Nigeria, we found a way of bringing in Ghana, and it appears, just a cyclical narrative from the Nigerian perspective and then the Ghanaian perspective. We keep going back and forth with the same issues, like we always say in our studies. The material conditions are the same across the African continent. So it appears that the response from the African people must be of equal measure.
Well, the Nigerian question, if I may say so, as has been variously described by my co-panelists, is found in the abysmal socioeconomic conditions of the people. And whether it is in northern Nigeria or it's in southeast Nigeria, the Niger Delta, or elsewhere in Nigeria, people are living in poverty, real poverty. And what is happening through Boko Haram and what is happening through the militants in the Niger Delta is part of the rebellion against the system. And mind you, it is the rule of the elite which is causing this rebellion. As for what Buhari is, Buhari's effusions is quite laughable. He's been around for, I think, 5 years, isn't it? Mm-hmm. He's not been able to solve it. And when he came, he said, oh, he was going to solve it. He was even claiming that once upon a time, he was a coup leader. And so, because of his military background, he was going to quash it, which meant that all his mentality was that it only takes force to go and quash it, forgetting that probably the rebellion was rooted amongst the people. 1, 2, his military itself was riddled with corruption, and his state apparatus, which would facilitate even what he wanted to do itself, was not up to scratch because it was also riddled with corruption, etc. So part of the Nigerian military will sell the arms which the state has bought for them to the militants, whether in the Delta area or in the Boko Haram area. Of course, the rebellion is not only amongst the Boko Haram and the militants in the Delta area. It's also amongst the ordinary people whose immediate problems, or is it SARS? Mm-hmm. They expressed it by going on demonstration. But mind you, when the people are rebelling, it is not a free ride. There's a counter to it. And the counter is the state apparatus, which is in the control of the regime and control of the elite. So the Nigerian ruling regime was able to use the armed forces and the police to somewhat quash the demonstrations. But still, not long ago, I think about a week ago, various organizations in Nigeria have come together to form a progressive left organization to lead. Because one other truth which we must accept is that spontaneous outbursts does not lead to an organized revolt which will bring the desired results. And that is what is also happening with the Fix the Ghana movement. Look at it closely. We have two main political parties in this country. One is ruling, one is criticizing. Because they were not, both of them are unable to move the people. It took Sam Jonah, to be able to articulate the concerns of a large part of the middle class. And that is exactly what the Fix the Ghana movement also did. They put their thumb on the problem with the hashtag. But because they were not an organized group, or they are not coalesced into an organized group, when the police dared them, they could not push forward. Well, during the weekend, I listened to some of their people on television, and I think that they are organizing as a group. Indeed, the reaction of the state apparatus, whether it's the police or the propaganda arm of the government through its communicators and the television stations, etc., and other intelligence agencies and all those kind of things, is probably pushing the organizers to understand that they need to come together and have a coherent strategy in meeting these people.
What should that coherent strategy be?
That coherent strategy should be what I heard on them saying that, look, we should organize people in all parts of Ghana. It shouldn't be only Accra. To go on demonstration. And I'll tell you something. If COVID protocol says 25 people should go on demonstration, you let 25 people go on demonstration, and you will see the number of people who will join, and whether the police, and if it is nationwide, whether the police can do anything. They'll be overwhelmed. They won't be able to do anything. But it needs people to sit down. Wow. It needs people to plan. You need people to strategize. And they shouldn't be trusting of the government. They are asked to come to the police headquarters, and you have 6 cabinet ministers going to meet them. And you think that they went to meet you because they love you? No. They are also finding ways and means of questioning you. So you should be wary of them, especially if you believe in what you are doing. Because what they said, you hear the government propaganda says that, fix what? So they don't know that there are problems in this country. They don't know there's problem of poverty. They don't know there's the problem of hunger. They don't know that there's the problem of unemployment. They don't know that there's the problem of debt overhang in our country, and that these are problems which they promise to fix. I will even tell them that they should fix what is in their manifesto. Have they been able to fix what is in their manifesto? What they promised us? They've not. So if somebody says fix it, he is justified in saying that. And I believe that, you see, we should understand that the state apparatus, consisting of the executive, consisting of parliament, consisting of the judiciary, are one and the same. None of the 3 would cheer on fix the country people or anybody who wants to rebel against the system. The system itself is moribund. The system is a failure. This type of system that we've been having for the past 30 or 40 years has done absolutely and brought absolutely no positive results for the people of this country. Look at the debt overhang that we have. Look at the amount of money we have to use to pay for interest rates and the paltry amount we have to pay as compensation. Look at the fact that we don't employ people into the public service. We tell university graduates, go and look for your own job. Meanwhile, you have collapsed banks and there's no cheap credit. Credit is expensive. The cost of borrowing money in order to invest is expensive or non-existent. Infrastructure for startups is practically not there. If you don't hold a party card, you can't move into the public service, you can't move into the private sector, you can't move anywhere. So how do you tell people who have finished school, and when they went to school, they were invested in? Look at the amount of money we have spent on each person who has finished up to university. And we tell them there's no job. Wasted investment. Do you understand what investment is? Is this any different from me being told that having building Bank of Ghana and Ghana Commercial Bank in 1958, building factories, having 5-year development plan, having 7-year development planning, building Akosombo Dam and everything is visionless. If you have people who have been president of this country before thinking that way, coming from a certain ideological leaning, then of course what is happening in our country can't be, we deserve it, or they deserve to give it to us.
Right. Interesting. Although I find the last part of your submission so that we deserve it. Audishak, coming to you on this very subject matter. Well, Mr. Heneku suggests that we deserve it because it appears that we are doing nothing about the situation. And it appears that we have, appended our signatures to the current labyrinth in which we are. But from where you sit, and I just simply want to know, right? I can appreciate the fact that, you can be partisan. It's okay, no problem, be partisan, right? But if you had people thronging the streets of this nation in disagreement of the economic policy or the economic structure of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, for which reason they were deceived into demonstrating perhaps and getting him out, right? At the time, even when somebody was doing something positive. Then how come that when people are doing something negative, we cannot gather the same energy, right, and form one conglomerative force to demonstrate vehemently against these people in order that we can also get them out? What is the problem? And I think that, it's overreached using the narrative of being partisan. Everybody is partisan somehow, You understand what I'm saying? Because there's no way Mr. Eneku is going to move his position when it comes to Nkrumah and his policies. I mean, in that respect, you can say that he is. Right, let me just go for this quick commercial break. When I come back, we will stay on this topic and dissect it a little further. Because I do not understand why the Fix the Country demonstrators, including all of us, have not been able to, throw on the streets and articulate our concerns through the demonstration that we want to embark upon. So, quick commercial break. Please, don't move a muscle. I shall join you shortly. Stay with me.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day, he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. Audu Shak, let me just immediately come straight to you.
Kwame.
Yes.
Kwame, you see, there's a difference between this generation and that generation that thrived under Kwame Nkrumah. You see, those of us, most of us, within that group, who thinks that things are not going on right, most of us are not in privileged positions. Those people who stood up against Nkrumah, vilified him, lied against him, and deceived the people to pour out in disagreement with what Kwame Nkrumah was doing, even though today everybody looks back and knows that we had shot ourselves in the foot. These were not people who were against Kwame Nkrumah because they were hungry or because they didn't have places to lay their heads. They were only against Kwame Nkrumah because of the fact that they wanted to be recognized. That was all. You understand? Today, Kwame, those of us, those of us, like you and I, Kwame, I am unemployed. Most of the people out there, they are unemployed. And now over the years, like Mr. Hineku said, if you look at how we have set up the state apparatus, it appears that everything is at the beck and call of those who are supposed to be fixing the system that we are calling them to fix. So they have control over everything. So they have the power to sit back and want to fight us back because they are those who are benefiting from the kind of poor state that we find ourselves as a people. You understand? So for me, I think that fundamentally, we must begin beyond just these sporadic interventions of demonstrating, of mass organizations, of all of that. I think that there should be a conscious effort to ensure that we set up the state called Ghana in a certain manner different from the way it has been set up, where power is in the hands of just one or two people, to the extent that whatever they want to do, irrespective of how bad they are doing it, it is difficult for us to break them down. You understand? Because the kind of power that is placed in the hands of especially our president, who appoints virtually everybody. You understand? From security to education, to whatever. Kwame, look, when we say some of these things, people think that we should not say it. Kwame, today, if I don't know about anything, if we were to go to the Upper West region, I can tell you that within this 5 years of Akufo-Addo as president, if you go to senior high schools in Upper West region, if you are not a member of the New Patriotic Party, a proven card-bearing member of the New Patriotic Party, it is difficult for you to be a headmaster or a principal of a senior high school.
Oh, you're kidding me?
Yes!
You're kidding me?
I'm telling you.
Really?
Yes!
In this our country?
Yes! I'm saying it.
No, the country ought to be fixed.
This is national television. Let somebody call in and say it is not true. And let us mention people's names. And they go and find out of this, all the senior high schools in the Upper West region. How many of them are not being headed by people who belong to the NPP stock?
But then what the woman was telling me over the weekend is true, that the upgrade system, the upgrading system has even been politicized. That they all went to write an exam, the results came, they said, oh, some of you have passed, others, we have a problem with the system, so hold on. So it means that there's a fundamental error.
So I set this example because now there are teachers out there who are interested in joining the Fix the Country movement.
Wow.
But they also have their eyes on upgrading themselves professionally. You understand? And so they will be held back by their professional ambition of when they wanting to be headmasters and directors and all of that. Because if they come out boldly with their chest, when it is time for them to be genuinely upgraded or given such opportunities, they would not get. And that is just within one front of the society. There's in so many other areas, Kwame. This is what is happening. So the system is set up in such a way that those in authority actually have us by the balls. and if we do not go to a certain extreme, it will be difficult for you and I on this stage, right? On this stage, to be able to convince so many people out there that indeed we can do something irrespective of the politics or the partisanship that comes into play.
Right.
That is how they are holding all of us back and continue to perpetuate the kind of things that they are perpetuating on us.
I mean, this is a serious issue. If what our very own Audu Shak is saying is anything to go by, that means we have a problem.
No, but we've had a problem.
No, I mean, of course, we know we have the problem, but I didn't know, the magnitude of the problem. Now it appears that, using the magnifying glasses, it appears that it's a very humongous problem.
Of course, he's raising it from the educational point of view.
Absolutely.
I'm sure if you open the phone lines today, people will testify to what he's saying. Let me just leave what he said there. Go to the recruitment centers of our security services. Today, they advertise recruitment into Ghana Armed Forces, police. Before they were coming into office, the deceit that brought them to office, one of them is that their national organizer, then the youth organizer, Sami Awuku, made a promise to Ghanaians that they were not going to even sell forms for people who intend to join any of the forces in the country. At the time they were selling the form for 100 Ghana cedis. Today it's 200 Ghana cedis.
Yes, it's true.
It's 200 Ghana cedis.
It's true, I know.
In 5 years.
It's true.
More than 100% jump. That is not only the increment, which is a brick in the promise that needs to be fixed. Because we didn't force Sami Awuku to make that statement. The same way we didn't force Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to promise 350 secondary schools to be built in addition to the 200 that was being built by John Dramani Mahama.
98 hospitals.
The 98 hospitals, we didn't force him. This is a year. It was 88, then they upgraded it.
Yeah.
They added the figure to it to move beyond 88.
Yeah, that's true.
We are in the year. And we're supposed to be seeing the completion of these projects in 1 year. But the point is that people who buy these military forms are not the ones they recruit into the military. In fact, for about 2 years, they have not advertised any military form sales. But people have gone through training and have been enlisted into the Ghana Armed Forces. So if you are not a card-bearing member of the MPP, you will not get yourself enlisted into any of the services. This is something that probably you've heard out there. But in 2020, I think in November 2020, I had the opportunity to be at the Student Award ceremony, which I was also presented with a citation. And one of the students came out to ask a question. And this was his question. That he, a student, qualified for sorry, a scholarship and was going for the interview. When he got there, he was asked on whose protocol was he coming. Where was his party card, the MPP party card, which he didn't have. And so he lost the opportunity of getting the scholarship. This you can verify from the Student Award scheme, which they organized in Kumasi in 2020. So if students who are genuinely qualified for scholarships to pursue their education will be asked which political party you belong to, on whose protocol are you coming, you think that what my brother is saying is false? That when the opportunity comes, that the MPP will want to get somebody in authority that can influence people, we want to see that it's about a genuine person or who qualifies. No, the reason why they will send a whole national security to the elections of nukes should tell you. The very reason why they want to take up or put their people in authority is just to forestall these kinds of demonstrations. It surprised me, and I'm sure you will have heard it also, that in 2020, the Ghana Medical Association came out with a statement that they were not going to embark on a strike in an election year, even when there were right issues out there for them to move out there to demonstrate against the government. It is because government has some control over leadership of that organization. Today, technical universities are starting their strike today. Should have done that last year, because the demands didn't just start this year. It's something that started way back when they were converted from polytechnics to technical universities. What happened? And why are they doing it today? Why didn't they do it last year? It's because of the infiltration of the government into leadership of these groups. And so they try as much as possible to weaken the gravity of the group in terms of wanting to expose government and its handling of issues. And so government for now is so particular about getting my people in authorities so that they can influence or try to sabotage some intended actions that will expose government handling of issues in the country. Right. And that is what is happening today. And let's look at it and see whether it is good for us as a country. I think that when you suppress people for a long time, you are in for trouble, because it will get to a certain level that you cannot suppress them any longer. And that is the dangers we find ourselves. And interestingly, people are still sleeping. The people who used to talk, the people who could still find verses in the Bible to preach, today are not getting verses in the Bible to preach as they used to preach yesterday. People are quiet. Where are the Mensa Otabels? Where are they? Are there no more preachers? Can they see? I asked this simple question. The former moderator of the Presbyterian Church, where is he? In fact, when he traveled to Rwanda, he came back to ask where the sensible guys were. You remember the Nyansafo? I've not heard him talk about the Terminal 3 that has been built by John Dramani Mahama after his statement. Probably that brought the attention that Ghana needed a befitting airport. I asked the question, has he ever traveled through Terminal 3? And why is he not telling Ghanaians that today, indeed, we have a befitting, and means that some sensible people were in authority? Where are they? Today they are quiet.
Perhaps they are quiet because it's better.
No, it's not better.
It's
because, of course, it's better for them. But the point here is culture of silence. The culture of silence is so great to the extent that these people are all afraid.
The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, admonished journalists to do their job. I mean, why would you say there's culture of silence?
Admonishing journalists to
to do their job. Yes.
I mean, are you people not doing your job? You are. But the point is that, are people able to talk the way they used to talk yesterday?
There's a difference. I'm able to talk the way I used to talk, however I want it. Then if I feel there's something or I talk about it, I don't care. And there's also the issue about, because some journalists have been paid or are being paid, so they cannot find their voices. I think these are two different things. So maybe the culture of silence perhaps is the culture of silence triggered by money.
Of course, that's so, one angle.
Okay.
So probably you might not find yourself on the list of those that have been influenced.
No, I'm not on that list.
To keep quiet. But it's not about that. It's not about journalists. When we talk about culture of silence,
we are looking at everybody
in this country that you could speak against this government freely, like
Mr.
Eneku just made mention. The Chief Justice can criticize his seniors. I mean, people who before him were there, but somebody cannot criticize him. He's taking Dr. Ayine to the Ghana General Legal Council. Meanwhile, he's criticizing a certain rule by his seniors. So the MPP can criticize. And I made mention of it earlier, that when people want to demonstrate against John Mahama and the NDC, the police gives them permit. There's no COVID. But when they want to demonstrate against the President of the Republic, there is COVID. And so they will not allow people who want to demonstrate against the government because there is COVID, but they will allow people who want to demonstrate against the opposition because there's no COVID.
Right.
That is what we are talking about. But I'm saying that it will get to a stage that people may not be able to contain it any longer. And that is the danger we find ourselves in. Kwame, let me ask you, have you had a copy of the report about the fishes that died out of the stress?
No, I've not seen any report.
No, but we were told that.
Honestly, I've not seen it. That's a very good. I've not seen any report.
I mean, they came out to tell us that they died out of stress.
Yes, stress.
And that they were going to do further investigations into it. How long has it taken them to bring out the report? I mean, we should know.
That's true. I've not followed up on that. It's true.
It's also a culture of silence.
Question, Mr. Eneku, all of these things. I mean, my interest is, for instance, you see, Yamin, in his first submission, made mention of the fact that we've closed banks, yet we've gone to borrow money to come and open another bank. I just wanted to find out, I don't know, that do you perhaps know how much we make from the tools? Even in a day, like the tools, you know, the tools that we have in this country. Because whenever I'm traveling, I think if I go to Cape Coast, I use 2. So, but if somebody lives in Tema, they will use 3. So that's Tema, then Kaswa, then the Nyambransa.
Even if you live in Tema, you
Mori
area. So 3, right?
Yeah.
So how much? Do you know how much we make? Is it not, if you put all together in a week, is it not even more than 170 million euros?
We do make a lot.
Yeah. So what do we use those monies for? I honestly want to know, because we pay taxes, yet we don't see anything, and then they keep borrowing. You know what I'm saying? So we pay taxes, yes. We don't know how much we generate from those taxes, and the monies that we generate from those taxes are not being used for any proper thing. And then we go and borrow more money And then we don't also see what those monies are used for. When you ask me, you say, well, haven't you seen one village, one dam? Haven't you seen 1 million per constituency? Haven't you seen this? Haven't you seen that? You know, we have employed over 1 million people. We are planting, 5 million trees. But we are not seeing them.
Well, you see, the truth of the matter is that there's a difference between investment, economic investment, and investing in consumption. Most of the monies we borrow, most of the monies, the revenues we generate, go to pay for a lavish lifestyle and consumption lifestyle of the elite, especially of those in power. I mean, it's been made mention of the amount of monies which are paid for planes which are hired for the president to travel. We talk of all sorts of allowances, etc., which are paid. And we also talk of procurement breaches. Like, for example, we are happy, we are celebrating that the World Bank is going to give us...
Oh, we are coming there.
$200 million for vaccines. We have started chopping it too. Because that money is what is going to be used to pay for this Sputnik thing.
Of course.
And instead of effectively using it to pay $10 per vaccine, they are going to pay either $19 or $26. And you can be sure that about half of that amount is going to go into people's pockets. Then when we talk of consumption too, we talk of purposeless economic policies which allows for us to import for everything under the sun. You understand? So the monies which we have, which we raise, which we take from, how do you call it, loans, etc., you can be sure that that's what we use to pay for rice imports. That's what we use to pay for chicken imports. That's what we use to pay for second-hand imports of clothes and fridges, etc., because they all need foreign exchange. And it is this foreign exchange which are given to this cabal of importers to import everything. Meanwhile, if there had been economic investment in the production of rice and its added value, in poultry production, etc., we would have saved all this money and we would raise enough money and create a lot of unemployment and get taxes from those who will be employed. You get my point? So yes, we raise a whole lot of money. In fact, there's even a potential source of revenue that we don't raise. Example, the president gives, or the parliament gives a tax exemption of $28 million to a friend of his or an in-law of his who is building a hotel, which means $28 million worth of taxes is lost to the treasury. The parliament sits down and passes a tax holiday of $200 million for a foreign company, Ashanti Gold, Newmont, and others. That is $200 million lost to our country. You understand? Not to talk of Kufuor having sold the rest of our shares in Ashanti Gold and our golden shares, that's control over gold production in country, and also having signed a law which allows these foreigners to keep up to 98% of gold revenues outside. Then you come and tell us that somebody is visionless and does not plan. How will we get money to develop our country? So, and those banks which were collapsed, do you know how much taxes of the workers there have been lost to the country? Do you know how much corporate tax has been lost to the country because those banks have been collapsed? Those banks, the work on the money, which will be given out as loans and which will bring in returns.
Right.
Do you know how much money has been lost? You see, it seems that our analysis of both economics and the social policies is not deep enough. And it is not deep enough because there's a conspiracy by especially the leaders of the middle class, the Reverend Mate, the NGOs, and all those kind of people. They have conspired to keep quiet. The religious people, they conspire to invade the universities and convince our students that if they bless the pen you are going to use for exams, you pass.
Right.
Instead
Right.
of going to work hard and learn. If they bless the exercise book or the book which you are going to use to learn, you will pass. So when such people come out, they are docile. How do you marshal them to go on demonstration? Do you think the 1970s was easy? Do you know what military rule was? But students went out
Absolutely.
till the whole system came down. Do you think the 1980s was easy? But people went out, people spoke. You understand?
Yeah.
And so I believe that you might think there's a lull. My brother Ishak was talking about the fact that the people during Nkrumah's time were ready to follow. No. So 1947, 48,
There are
for about 50 years, the people of the Gold Coast were
Docile.
docile. It was called the model colony.
No, I was talking about.
No, I'm just. It was called the model colony. Till somebody came
change.
and catalyzed it. And
That's,
so
that's what you're
maybe
about. Who will
fix,
catalyze this one?
maybe Fix the Country movement will catalyze it. And I believe they have started catalyzing it. And it will come to a head very soon.
Very soon. Now, you remember I was asking a question about the toll booths and how much we generate from them. Apparently, we have about 32 of them nationwide. 36. Sorry, 36 of them.
Including the bridge.
Yeah.
The two main bridges.
I believe so.
Tefle and
36. Yeah. And then, well, this member of parliament is asking for them to be automated so that we can generate, we're making a lot of money because it appears that we are still losing money.
But they have been privatized.
Okay. I mean, but beyond that. So, look, listen, this is very simple. And to be honest, even when the NDC was in power, I was advocating for this to happen, that we must have a system where these vehicles would have specific codes, you know, so that, you know, when you go and buy something from the supermarket, they just, you know, and then...
Barcode.
Yeah, and then barcode, and then you figure is determined, you pay for it, etc., right? So the vehicles should have barcodes. If you're coming from Kaswa, you have a separate code. If you're coming from Tema, you have a separate code. If you're coming from Medina, all those things, you have a separate code. And then all that money which is generated will be sent into a central pool, which will not be handled by any human being. So automatically it goes, because we have mobile monies, right? If you pay with your mobile money, there's a central pool, it goes there, right? So why can't we do same for these toll booths? So that you take out the element of human intervention. Point is that we can generate so much money from the toll booths. Currently, the estimation is that in a month we make about 30 million Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
30!
Yeah.
Mr. Eneku, 30 million!
Yeah, but Kwame, the truth of the matter is that the barcode, even, you could use a registration number.
Yeah!
So that when the camera captures
Captures you, no,
it means that
automatically just open for you.
automatically,
You are deducted.
yeah,
No, but use the Legon example.
no, automatically it records,
Yes.
and so you know
Legon
how
example,
much
you have the card.
yeah,
You show it,
it's
you have
supposed to come.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the
it's
matter
money.
is that
Yeah.
when revenue is raised, how effectively is revenue utilized? The revenue, the 30 million can be raised, but all you know, it will be used to pay for the aeroplane, the luxury aeroplane,
That is
which
President is leapfrogging.
point is that
Precisely.
I want us to have a very serious conversation on this tolling system because it's very important, which is why I want us to take it, you know, one at a time. And I was actually going to start with you, Joseph Yami.
Yeah.
Because look, sometimes I don't know whether you feel the same way I do. I feel, and Mr. Eneku said I shouldn't use the word emotional, but I get emotional.
you'll be passionate.
No, well, passion emanates from emotions. I mean, because you sometimes you just simply, maybe because I'm not the president, but I get very passionate,
Yeah.
emotionally passionate.
We can understand your.
It's
your
frustrating,
passion.
oh, seriously, oh.
But have you also taken note of the boots that takes these monies? Have you taken a careful look at the state of the boots themselves and the kilometer leading to the boots? Almost all the boots, a kilometer to the toll booth itself, is so bad that you want to ask yourself, what are these monies that are being collected.
This thing will be
But this thing,
trust me.
automating the booths, was something that Colonel Bevlo Latte started.
The great man.
Started I think the Tema motorway has an electronic boot system. So we're trying to prioritize the some of them to see whether it will be effective. Of course, he did it. So that is called the fast lane.
The E zone or something.
The E zone. So you have your card. You show off your card. It opens it up for you automatically. Then you go. I think Legon is Legon and KNUST are using that same model, and so people that are mining the boots do not have any opportunity of handling any of this cash. You go in there, you buy your card. So for now, I think in Legon, if you want to be using the Legon route, you buy a card. I think 400 for a year or so. At any point you are entering, you show it off, it opens it up for you. It's done in some advanced countries. But in our part of the country, because we always want to find opportunity to rake in, to steal.
Yes.
And this is so prevalent in this administration that they will always want to take every opportunity to enrich themselves. I picked one of the booth attendants on my way to Kumasi. He joined and I asked him how much he makes. You know, they run a 3-shift.
Shift system, yeah.
Yes. So morning to afternoon, there's one person. Afternoon to evening, there's another person. Then there is somebody who takes over till the next day.
Okay.
He is from one side that he makes 5,500 cedis minimum.
Him?
Yes.
Like personally?
Within that. Where he's on duty. Before he hands over to
the next person.
The next person. That's how much he makes on that stretch. And I was shocked. I asked whether he was telling me the real figure. So the other side, or those that comes in the morning, makes almost about 7,000 before they hand it over. But the system, you know what they do? I think they take the money, then people come to collect the money, and now go and deposit it. As to how much they deposit, they don't know. It's something that you don't know. When I was a deputy minister, a graduate came to me that she used to work at a toll booth attendant, and went to further her education. And that after graduating, doing her national service, she still wants to go back and be at the toll booth. So I asked, what? A graduate, and you want to, no, I mean,
you don't know what is there.
What is there? Then
the gold mine. It's better than Obuasi.
No. So if somebody could go to school, attain a degree, and want to come and work at a toll, as a toll attendant, to be paid 400, 500 Ghana cedis a month, then it should tell you that there is something there. I visited, a fuel attendant, and I asked how much she was paid. She talked about 200 Ghana cedis a month. Go there and find out how many graduates are fuel attendants, and they will tell you how much they make from the fuel you buy. The people who understand
the job,
the system, the machine, knows that at the end, after the pumps have read whatever figures, they know how much they have to put in there, how much will go into their pockets. That is how vulnerable our system is. And when we don't try to automate these systems, then we should forget about it. But I'm saying that Bevlo Latte started it, continued it a little bit, but has been left, and we've gone back to that old system where we are handling physical cash, printing of these things. And sometimes you get there and people are just passing. They are also friends to the attendants. And so you get there and just give you a signal and it's going. And that is what it is now. Until we are able to do these things. And I think that it should be easier for us to do them. Because as at now, if you are using a car, you know you are a car user. For instance, me coming all the way from Kumasi to Accra, buy the card. Yes. And anytime you get to that level, just flash it off. Then you are gone. So that the monies will be accounted for to be used. When you are passing through a place, then you see how bad the road is and how much they take every day from you. Then you want to think whether Ghana we are really serious. And indeed, I don't think that we are serious.
I'll come to you. I think that Honorable Yamin has laid a proper foundation for the conversation, looking at the processes, for instance, right? Perhaps let me come to you in respect of how we put those. I mean, what we put those monies into. Do we put them to proper use? Well,
I was smiling when my big brother was talking. Come, you see, we probably are trying to blame the vulnerable toll attendants. Because, Kwame, irrespective of what level of misconduct probably goes on at that level, let us look at the larger picture, the bigger picture. What about the one that actually accrues and go into the bigger pool, the basket? What do those in higher authority do with it? That is what we should be asking. Just like you asked, how are those resources accruing from the toll booths? Because I just opened to read the Road Fund Act, and I saw how the money should be used. Are we strictly adhering to some of these stipulations? Because we have a Ghana Road Fund Act, which stipulates how monies that accrue into the road fund should be used. You understand? It is not being used for that purpose. Because the one who is sitting at the toll booths, he has no control over what tender process should go on. He has no control over which road projects should be prioritized. He has no control over how timely disbursements should be done and all of that. Now, we're in a country where people inflate contracts. People inflate the cost of projects. That people award the project, show the works are being done, because at a certain point, people demand so much from even the contractors who are giving these projects. Because I don't want to even say that people win the tender processes, but we manipulate everything. Just like we were talking about the Fix the Country issue, where we think that there's extreme partisanship and all of that. Even to win a contract, you and I know that you must do certain things. Either you brandish your party card, or you go about bribing people and all of that. I'm not saying that that is what happens all the time, but these are the kind of things that happen, to the extent that we do not get value for money as far as the kind of projects that we ought to do for the people are concerned. If you follow the Fix the Country movement, one of the issues that reigned quite supreme was the nature of our road network. There is no person, there's nobody across this country who would not complain, especially if you travel. Because, Kwame, apart from the danger that we go through as commuters, the kind of discomfort that encounters us every day, our cars breaking down, our lives being at risk, the kind of maintenance cost that we have to pay on our cars and all of that. So if you look at all of these, and then daily minimum, we make 1 million Ghana cedis from 36 toll booths across the country. A maximum of 30 million, a minimum of 30 million in a month. That's 360 million a year.
That's a lot of money.
360 million Ghana cedis a year. Then road fund is always in arrears. Contractors are owed all the time. And Kwame, to the extent that sometimes there's even misapplication or is it misapplication. But they go and take monies from the road fund and send it somewhere else.
This country and Canada, we need to.
Because we have a president that is supposed to appoint a road fund board. If you are not a member of the party, you will not be appointed into that board. Even the institutional appointments that have to be done, they know who is in which party. But it's in the Ministry of Highways, or is in the Ministry of Feeder Roads, or is in the Urban Roads Department. The fellow is supposed to be appointed into the board based on his or her expertise. But they know that that person is my party member. So the person puts off that expertise and goes there only wearing a party cap, not that cap of expertise. And that is how come that we have all of these sources. Today, probably the spotlight is on on toll booths. There are other revenue avenues.
Oh, trust me,
across the country that are facing similar problems. That toll booths, the revenue from toll booths, is facing. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Right. Because when you sit back, sometimes Kwame, and listen to, and then we are here, the road fund will go and take a loan. Do you know that road fund goes to take loans to come and pay contractors? So if you get 1 million Ghana cedis a day, how much loan will you go and take?
Oh.
If you get 1 million Ghana cedis a day and you are going to take loans to come and do what? That is because the money counts and people decide sometimes not to even pay it to road fund. But the people sitting there who should ensure and demand that the right thing is done, they themselves are profiting from the system. But they are more concerned about their political party and their government rather than what should be done to leave a legacy like Nkrumah did.
Little wonder that we're generating very little from even the ports.
Exactly. Yeah. Everywhere, Kwame.
Everywhere. Yeah. Let me come to you on this subject matter. Sad, isn't it? I'm actually very sad. Look at our roads, like very bad.
You shouldn't be sad. You should be angry.
Oh.
You should be angry at a dysfunctional system. The state itself is dysfunctional. Look, we have just calculated that 360 billion cedis is generated from just toll booths in a year. Meanwhile, the finance minister comes to tell us that we need 10 billion Ghana cedis to fix all our roads. So if 360 million a year could come just from toll booths, can't we begin to progress in fixing our roads? But they'll go and collect loans, and half of the loans will be chopped. The management of the loans will be made by their own people, the data bank people, the black something people. They will take about 3, 4, 5% of the debt. So the debt itself, I mean, loans have become an industry where there are some people, some legal firms and financial firms and management firms who profit. The more we collect loans, the more those people individually profit. And interestingly enough, they are in the centers of power. They decide when we should go for loans. So it's conflict of interest. And that is bad. You understand? That is bad. Like you were saying, the ports. I was just being told over the weekend by a friend who works in the ports. The amount of money, you were talking about the fact that they collect money from the toll booth and give it to people. Over there too, they collect money in sacks. And it is transferred. I thought that there was a policy that all payments should be made to the banks. And banks are, bank offices are located in the ports. Still, they are collecting fiscal cash and there's a leakage. And worst of it all, the little that we collect, what use do we put it to? What use do we put it to? We have Tema Oil Refinery sitting down there. We drill oil off our coast. We get part of the payments in oil. Instead of going to refine it so that we can produce kerosene, so that we can produce LPG, so that we can produce coal tar or bitumen and other things, we prefer to import all these petroleum products because some people are going to get a cut in it. And let the toll. I hear even they can't pay their water bill. Meanwhile, you need a lot of water to work in the Temaoyo refinery. And the Temaoyo refinery was built in 1963. Maybe Kufuor does not know that. It was built in 1963 in anticipation that we will one day be able to drill oil and then use Temaoyo refinery to refine our oil. That is what planning is about. And again, the partisanship. It is not politicization of our institutions. So it is the partisanization of our institutions where a regime gets into power and then makes sure that it fills all the positions with its people, as if they are they constitute 100% of the population of Ghana. And that is where the problem is going to come from. Indeed, the contradictions within the party itself, the regime itself, is going to be one of the sources of the downfall of the system. And then, what the Fix the Ghana movement is, it is creating awareness. Don't let us be in a rush. Don't think that, they couldn't go on demonstration. Do you know the kind of awareness they have created? The Fix the Ghana movement? People are now focused. Have a situation where 1st May or 2nd May, Workers' Day, you put up about 6 taxes. Then you increase transport fares by 13%. Then minimum wage by 6%. Does it make sense? I mean, what is wrong with that? The day is coming. The day of reckoning is coming. And like they say in the Bible, it will come like a whirlwind. We won't be waiting for it. We won't be expecting it. It will come and it will... Nobody expected June 4th. I mean, nobody, I was in school then, 6th form then. Nobody, we didn't expect it. We were just following the trial at Bema Hall, which the May 15th trial at Bema Hall, which Rawlings was talking about. And we were all supporting him exposing the Lebanese and all those goddamn people who were fleecing us. You understand? Then June 4th, boom, it came. There'll be a boom one of these days in this country.
There will be a boom one of these days in this country. These are the final words of Mr. Justice Eneku in his submission in respect of this matter. Now, all of us are worried, including me. We're all worried about this, tolling system, the amount of money we generate every month. We're looking at about 30 million Ghana cedis. In a year, we're looking at about 360 million. That's not a joke at all. Let me read a few messages. Hi, Kwame. Do you know that Brazilian president was fined after flouting COVID-19 protocols? We are simply joking in this nation. Good morning to you, KOD. All of your program guests today are indeed scholars with stature of empirical veracity against any aggressive dictatorial oppression and suppression in Ghana. And frankly, they are genuine patriots in astute media. Hey, God. Alidu Mohammed, this your plenty English, Charlie. I don't drink tea this morning, though. Before I end up mixing it, Charlie. Anyway, good morning to you, KOD and the panelists. Please, what Mr. Ishak is saying about headship in Upper West is very true. Even feeding programs is worse. It's high time we wake up. Gideon from Drapa. And you are also saying that your money is still locked up in GM Bank. You are not hearing anything. Please kindly inquire for us. My mother's money is there. It's locked. Fuseni Zokifel Sani Turawa in Asamanke says, good morning to KOD and the panelists, especially Honorable Yamin, the incoming NDC national organizer. Oh, you're going? You will win. Oh, you win. Oh, you win. You win. You win. You see, I have goosebumps on my head. You win.
So you're a prophet.
No, yeah. KOD, so tomorrow, can any of our religious leaders criticize future government? But we shouldn't be surprised. The MPP government is trying to make trouble out of anything, including COVID-19. Good morning. Good morning to you, sir. KOD, this GH Malema for Upper West region. Kwame, let's be honest. With the reality this morning, Audu Shak is fire. In fact, my morning and my day shall get better because of his early submissions. He was being natural naturally honest and genuine with issues this morning. Have a good day, bro. Have a good day to you as well. KOD, my cousin once worked as a toll booth attendant. Guess what? He came home every day with not less than 500 cedis. Every day, apart from his salary. According to him, have a superior who always comes for the cash. 2,000 cedis is being shared amongst them by the superior. And behind the scene, they are also making their own money illegally. Our toll booth should be automated to avoid all these lapses. Felix A.Y., Ghana Technology University College in Tesano, Accra. Claudia, good morning to you. From where I stand, I don't think a journalist like you would pretend to say there is no culture of silence in Ghana and the MPP. What happened to the FM stations run up to 2000 general elections? Are these FM stations not the mouthpiece of the people? Is that a way of silencing the people from Fuzi and Accra? Again, I thought Bawumia was addressing these loopholes with the judicialization mantra. What a stomach politician we have. The funeral expenses of the late MPP former chairman alone can buy a brand new train from China or Japan, but was wasted on, okay, this is a bit harsh. James from Kumasi sent in this one. Good morning to you, KOD. I know a lady who is a toll booth attendant who is putting up a mansion. This is a house, mansion. They are making a lot of money there. Ghana is bleeding and is in reverse gear. Kwabena in Kumasi, this toll booth business, I will take it up. I will hammer on it before it's automated. Because we can't be losing money and be going to borrow 170 million euros just so we can put up a bank. That, you know, we just go and borrow left, right, center, adding to the debt portfolio of this country. Then we will be the ones to come and pay for that. No, we won't allow that. Kwame, tell the president to fulfill his promises to absorb NAPCO trainees into permanent work. And also our alawa in April and May have not been paid. And landlords are chasing us with light bill. Albert sent in this message. It's true in Upper West about what they said when it comes to headship in the SHS. I'm a proud student of Islamic Senior High School in Wa Municipal. Thank you. That's a fact. Good morning to you, KOD. Look at you. McCarthy. Kwame from McCarthy. I don't know whether you are even watching or listening to what Mr. Eneku said, that he should be arrested because he's preaching boom. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure you are watching the show. The part that you heard was boom, but boom is boom. Kwame, don't we also see what the toll booth attendants are being paid? It's also contributing to some of the wrongdoings. What can 500 cedis a month do for them, Benjamin and Tamale? So you are justifying rot and thievery. If it is bad for them, they should, you know, question that or ask for salary increment.
How much do we pay our ministers?
Yeah.
How much do we pay those high up there?
Good morning to you, KOD. Everything in this country is
all kinds of things.
everything absolutely. Even the police people, you know, the single spine salary structure came to increase their salaries, but most of them still take bribe on the streets. That's a fact. Good morning to you, KOD. Everything in this country is politicized. Even selection of enumerators for the impending population and housing census was done on party lines. A lot of qualified and experienced people were rejected simply on the grounds that they are not party members. Audi Shah couldn't have said it better. Things have really fallen apart. Albert from Kaswa sent in this one. Please, I know this is not part of the program, but please advise Komina Minta. My friend, you can't be talking about Minta Kando like that. Good morning to you, sir. I'm Oko. I live in a town, but farm in the next town. In between the two towns is a toll booth, and so I always need to pay before crossing the toll booth, whereas in other areas for a very long stretch there isn't any toll booth. What options are there for us who have the booth in our town and always need to pay? My brother, there's no option. You have to pay. Good morning, KOD. I missed you last week. The finance minister is saying the youth should go into Agreg since the public sector is choked, but he was able to fix his people at Security and Exchange Commission, Public Board, and working in Ministry of Finance. Osafo Mafo was able to create new vacancy at SNIT and NCA and employed his 2 children. The census finance selection was not transparent. As of yesterday, the list was not out. The leaders said the bosses from above brought a list for their people to be fixed, and most people who took part, I beg your pardon, of the training were left out. So now, if you don't know anyone in the higher office or belonging to a political party, then you can't get anything out of your hard work. Theophilus, and this is what will spark the boom that Mr. Eneku is talking about. These are some of the exigencies that sparked the boom.
And which McCarthy is afraid of.
McCarthy is afraid of boom. Meanwhile, he's supporting the rot. KOD, yes, you are right about the barcode for vehicles at our toll booth. But the question is, will the same code use the money for the purpose? At the end of the day, somebody called human being will handle the money. And at the end of the day, that human being will steal the money. Okay, the point about, Jonas, the point about the barcode is to eliminate the human interference in that process. So there's a break in the chain. When what's it called? When the machine picks your code, okay, the system that I developed, okay, I don't want to share it on TV, but I'm sure when the appropriate forum is created, we'll be able to share my system with you. So it's a very detailed, I actually have a business plan on that. Good morning to you, KOD. Please, 32 booth. Are you referring to the region or the whole country? Please recheck. I realize a little bit weakness with respect to the education sector. I'm also in a privileged position to give you a lot of information on the education sector. Please be in touch. All right. Please send me a message after the morning show or send me a message on my Facebook page. I'll respond. KOD, you know this government is laughable, not serious. You see, it was discussed on this station, when China planned, okay, when you call me, I can't pick up my bosses, to move millions of its people out of poverty to millionaires, while Ghana is collapsing its people's businesses. They have forgotten that China have completed a plan for this, but because it was discussed here, they think, hey, let us go publish same. You know, KOD, these pastors are put on boards as chairmen and members of the board, so they are quiet. Check out this later. The toll booths have been sold to private sector, private company. Check it out. We only get small percentage. I know, but hey, this country we get problem. Oh no, we get problem. We get problem. But I'm sure we'll be able to solve them somehow.
Yeah.
Mr. Eneku, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Honorable would have asked you. No, Mr. Honorable Joseph Yamini Kamin, national organizer of, who's the current national organizer of your party?
Joshua Kamba.
Oh, Joshua Kamba, yeah. How is he around? It's been a while. I don't. You know, before the elections, I was looking for him. I couldn't find him. So I thought he had a submarine strategy. But I'd be like, the guy, I don't know if you were better. Anyway, how do you good morning? Thank you very much. Did I greet you again? Thank you very much.
Come, you know you are one person who keeps pushing me.
I love you.
So whenever I see you, I'm happy.
Yes. Yamin,
But
yes, there's a message. But don't mention the person.
I will not mention his name. But it says, I'm watching you from Kumasi. I've been denied appointment to a certain position because the appointing authority says they have evidence of my sympathy for a certain political party. I'm a public servant.
He can't mention his name because, you know, in this country, if he mentions his name, there will be a problem. But, Yamin, I wish you all the best. We'll do a very scintillant best to ensure that you win. But this submarine strategy, you know, if you work for 2020, so let's see.
Are you interested in Yamin?
Pardon?
Is it about Yamin or about his party?
I'm saying that, you know, everybody has a role to play to ensure that the party wins power. Maybe so. But some people were doing some submarine. I don't know whether it was submarine.
You helped me to win.
No, but when I say something on this show, it happens.
Yes.
Because the people, they know. Oh, they know.
You put fear in
They
them.
know.
You put fear. They didn't even contest.
My viewers, my viewers are very loyal. And not that they just listen. They listen and they also investigate. And they know that, no, what Kwame is saying is true. So I say you go win. You go bet. But when you win, I'll charge you because I have to buy fruit juice for my viewers.
Don't worry. When we get to the
you see, no, we have that. It's been an absolute pleasure serving you this morning. My name is Kwame Owusu-Dansah. So again, a big thank you to UDS Tamale. You guys were phenomenal at the Obasima Guinness Campus Store 2021. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you to UDS Tamale. Thank you to UPSA. Thank you to Legon. On Friday, we are at KNUST. And on Saturday, we are at GIJ. It's going to be amazing. You don't want to miss the train. And the final summit is on the 25th of June at Tank Palace Hotel. We'll be communicating the time to you and it's proudly supported and sponsored by Guinness Ghana Limited. So yeah, it's going to be a very big one this year. Big thank you to also Honorable Dr. Robert Kugagnablem, immediate past MP for Pinduri constituency. Like I told you, it was a little mistake. I told you I'd won already. I didn't know that I needed to do 1 or 2 for you, but 2024, inshallah, alhamdulillah, you will win again. And thank you to your wife for taking care of the team when they were in Tamale. Luxury restaurant in Tamale is the best place to go if you want to enjoy great meal. Make sure you go to Luxury Restaurant in Tamale. It's been an absolute privilege to share the platform with you this morning. Wonderful gentlemen. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a very pleasant day. My name again is Kwame Usudanso. Bye-bye.